Smoking is bad, guys. Just don't do it, please. Opinions represented in this video are not to be taken seriously. Smoking is bad and stupid. Just don't do it. But sometimes, isn't it badass? It's your body, and you can do what you want, right? Let's flick our cigarette butts into the face of conventions and explore the 10 coolest smokers in games. First up, from the game that's a fast and cool action fever dream, Vanquish. This title is all about that cool factor. So of course the protagonist smokes a ciggy once in a while. Though smoking isn't cool, Sam can be forgiven, because he's from the future, and healthcare must be amazing in his time. Look at him sliding across the floor all sparkly. He must have titanium kneecaps. You're telling me he can't have an iron lung? But we must imagine this bionic boy in his augmented reaction suit, abbreviated as ARS, is too hopped up on meds and suppressants. He probably doesn't even feel that rush of nicotine in the morning. Then why does Sam smoke? Well, he seems to have found a tactical application. When he's in cover, he flicks his cigarette into sight of his enemies and they forget about Sammy and shoot the cigarette instead. In the future, evil murder cyborgs have the intelligence of a flippin' Roomba. Next!
Intruder alert! Red 5 in the base.
He's a puzzle, wrapped in an enigma, shrouded in riddles, lovingly sprinkled with intrigue, express mail to Mystery Alaska. And look out behind you! But it's too late. You're dead. For he is the spy, globe-trotting rogue, lady killer, metaphorically, and man killer, for real. So, as we made clear, smoking isn't cool, but a guy with a description like that is allowed to do anything. And he's French, so it's okay. It's the spy from Team Fortress 2. Spies live on the edge, so smoking is just an expression of his attitude to life, we guess. And it must be stressful to be in disguise, and you could be unmasked at any moment. But we're wondering, doesn't the smell of smoke in your clothes give away your identity in the field? Like, wait a minute, our Heavy is a devout vegan health freak. Why does he smell like an ashtray? And how in hell does he run almost as fast as the Scout when he smokes like that? It must be the medic that transplants him some fresh dolphin lungs on a weekly basis. We're just guessing here. Next. There had to be a cowboy on this list. Enter Arthur Morgan. He's so calm, so cool. He's a cowboy, but he goes way beyond that. Maybe he's even a cowman. I don't know. But Arthur can be forgiven for smoking. He doesn't know any better. It's the 1900s. Doctors were still prescribing spoons full of mercury for nausea and bloodlettings for headaches for all we know. We're not history buffs. Red Dead Redemption 2 encourages the player to keep buying packs of cigarettes because they contain cool collectible cards. There's 144 cards to collect. The cards being randomly placed in packs that's probably hundreds of thousands of cigarettes Arthur has to smoke in order to collect them all. Let's hope he doesn't end up like the Marlboro Man. Smoking does give Arthur an advantage, as it restores his dead eye that allows him to Lucky Luke his enemies into oblivion. But the accompanying smoking animation in Red Dead 2 was a gripe to some gamers, as Arthur flicks away his ciggy after only one puff. Not only is it a huge waste, but also a major fire hazard. Smokey the Bear is gonna get you, Arthur. He's gonna get you. Next. Telltale's The Wolf Among Us is an incredible detective mystery based on the Fables comics. The style is totally film noir and thus the protagonist smokes. Meet Bigby Wolf, the sheriff of Fabletown. He's got a dark past that he tries to get to terms with. He's the big bad wolf after all. Bigby Wolf, get it? Well, Bigby smokes a lot in this game. But he's also got superhuman powers on the count of being a magical creature. Not only does the smoking not bother him, he's also got amazing stamina and can hold his breath for a long time. And so he should, his lungs being one of his coolest features. Huffing and puffing 3 little pigs into homelessness. One of these pigs, who's not so little anymore, now lives with Bigby and carries a grudge. Now that's karma. But Bigby's actually got a reason for smoking. Being a wolf, his sense of smell would get overloaded if he didn't drown it out. Especially the scent of Snow White would drive him insane. Romantic? Creepy? You decide. The reason he has these strong lungs, by the way? His dad is the chilly northern wind. That must make every cigarette of the Huff and Puff brand he smokes taste like a cool menthol. Next. You'd think that in the future, smoking would be illegal everywhere. But in the Deus Ex universe, everyone is still bad to the bone, as we like it. Protagonist Adam Jensen is a smoker and also a drinker. No wonder if you consider his stressful life and being adopted and all. He lost his humanity, his lover, his dog. It's quite depressing. Besides, he can crush skulls with his mechanical arm. Who is going to tell him to stop? On the other hand, which may also be bionic, Adam's got some body modifications that make him one of the best smokers in gaming history. He's got an implanted rebreather in his chest, basically a gas mask that filters toxins from the air he breathes. It also allows him to have an extra reserve of oxygen in his blood, so he doesn't fatigue as fast. Come to think of it, Adam's not the best smoker. He cuts corners. Screw that bionic dude. Come at me, bro. Next.
You're gonna tell me exactly what they're looking for, and then you're gonna help me stop them.
He's a big bad Marine, and he's chomping on cigars. It's Avery Johnson from Halo. But it's also the 26th century, and we're wondering if they've ever even heard of e-smokers. The Avery Johnson character was based on the popular, charismatic Black Marine archetype, and specifically Sergeant Apone from the legendary movie Aliens. What makes Sergeant Major even more of a badass is the fact that smoking is totally forbidden by the United Nations Space Command. Ooh. But there's good reason for the UNSC to ban smoking. And not only because in space no one can hear you wheeze. Another commander, Robert Watts, was also a fan of Sweet William cigars, that apparently are the only intergalactic cigar brand, and he had them delivered to his base. Until the cigars were tracked by the enemy, and he was captured because of his love of smoking. Johnson never got that stupid, and just died as the result of a massive laser beam to the chest, like a soldier. Smoking didn't kill, this time. Next. He's politically incorrect, he's from the Stone Age, and he totally beats up your dad. It's Duke Nukem. It's hard to see who smokes the bigger cigar on this list, Duke Nukem or Avery Johnson. But we do know that Duke owns it the most. He likes, in his own words, a good cigar and a bad woman. His masculinity isn't just toxic, it's nuclear with the power of 1,000 suns. But Duke wasn't always the wisecracking dude bro we know now. In the first Duke Nukem game, which was a platformer, he didn't speak at all. And in the second game, he only said his name. Like a freaking Pikachu. Only by the third game, Lil Dookie had built enough confidence to really find his voice.
Suck it down.
Duke is just a cool smoker because he embraces being politically incorrect. And the cigar is just the cherry on top. Did we mention Duke Nukem also has a strain of weed named after him? It's said to be way more laid back than its namesake. Next. Now for the first smoker on this list that got into trouble for smoking. Malcolm Graves from League of Legends. You'd think this rough and tumble orphan from seedy Bilgewater could do whatever the frick he wants. He's so badass that his mom abandoned him and the only thing she left him with was a bottle of spiked milk. Moloko Plus as a baby, man. That's why it's so painful that in 2014, they took his cigar! Well, it was removed from his depiction on the splash screen, allegedly due to censorship and rating problems. This being the age of the internet, this reason was ridiculed, especially when it's in a game that's all about killing each other with over-the-top weapons. Like, we can kill each other with warhammers, but Graves can't have his cigar? This sentiment turned into a meme, and we're not sure if it was because of the memery or the storm of hypocrisy just blew over, but in the end, Graves did get his cigar back. Next. Grim Fandango is a game that's so good that we could even give the excessive smoking in this game a pass for how artistic it is. And it's totally film noir, of course. Manuel Manny Calavera is a skeleton trapped in the land of the dead. Instead of buying his way into the land of eternal rest, he has decided to work his time off as a travel agent. And that's just a pretty way to say Grim Reaper. So, we can imagine why Manny smokes, being dead and all. But how does he do it? He has no lungs. He might not even be able to enjoy the rush of nicotine. But on the other hand, the only negative effect he gets from smoking is his ribs getting yellow. And besides, he's already dead, who cares? However, the game manual for Grim Fandango does reference the smoking in the game and asks players to consider that every smoker in the game is already dead. Yeah, dead and cool. Next. You probably knew this dude would be number one. A smoker even cooler than Humphrey Bogart banging a penguin. Solid Snake. Even though Snake is required to be in absolute top health, he smokes from time to time. He's even so committed to smoking that he smuggles cigarettes with him on a mission. In his stomach. Whether he extracted them via the top or bottom, we don't even want to know. Maybe Solid Snake started smoking ciggies because his super cool dad, Big Boss, smoked cigars. Because we can't imagine Solid Snake succumbing to peer pressure from someone less cool than Big Boss himself. Some of the other characters in the MGS games give Snake a hard time about his smoking in the codec calls. But Snake is a true lover of nicotine and won't budge. At some points in the missions, the cigarettes even have a practical use. In an earlier game, he uses them to calm his nerves. But in the later games, he mainly uses them to detect invisible laser beams. But a man with the iron will to keep smoking despite the peer pressure surely should be able to quit. And he did. At the end of MGS4, he quits, to be able to fulfill Big Boss's dying wishes. And that's why Solid Snake is at the top of this list, because smoking is cool, but quitting even cooler. That's it for our 10 coolest smokers in games. Did we miss any? Please let us know in the comments. And remember kids, don't smoke, it's stupid, even when it's cool. And don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell. Thanks for watching and see you next upload.